A little girl walks up to the most dangerous
My
soldier in
dog can
America
find your son.
and says 5 words that freeze his blood. My dog can find your son. The Delta Force operator stares at this kid with scraped knees and a backpack covered in puppy stickers. His son has been missing for 72 hours. The FBI has nothing. Every resource the military can secretly deploy has turned up empty. And now this child is telling him her German shepherd can do what an entire task force couldn't. He's about to dismiss her.
Can you hear us?
But then her dog does something that makes every hair on his neck stand up. Because this isn't just any dog, and this isn't just any little girl. What happens next will shatter everything you think you know about courage and the unbreakable bond between a child and her best friend. Before we dive in, tell us where you're watching from. And if this story moves you, hit that subscribe button because we're building a community that believes in the impossible. The Mountain Ridge Diner sits just off Highway 14 in northern Montana. It's the kind of place where truckers stop for coffee at 4 a.m. and local ranchers gather to complain about feed prices. Nothing remarkable ever happens here. Until today. It's 2:47 in the afternoon on a Tuesday in October. The aspens outside are burning gold. The air smells like pine and coming snow. Inside booth 7 sits a man who doesn't belong. His name is Jack Reeves. He's 38 years old, broad shoulders, quiet eyes that never stop moving. He's wearing civilian clothes, but they fit wrong, like a costume. Because Jack Reeves isn't a civilian. He's a Delta Force operator. One of the most elite soldiers America has ever produced. He's survived firefights in 14 countries. He's pulled hostages from buildings that were actively exploding. He once walked 40 miles through enemy territory with a bullet in his leg. But none of that matters now, because 72 hours ago his 10-year-old son Ethan vanished from a campsite 12 miles from this diner. And Jack Reeves, who has faced down terrorists and warlords without flinching, is completely powerless. Jack Reeves sits in that booth and he's doing something he hasn't done in 15 years of active combat. He's falling apart. His coffee's gone cold. 3rd cup, maybe 4th. He doesn't remember. The waitress keeps glancing at him from behind the counter, that look people get when they're trying to decide if they should say something comforting or just leave well enough alone. She's chosen silence. Smart woman. Jack's phone sits face up on the table. No new messages, no new calls, just the same search grid map he's been staring at for 3 days straight. All those colored zones marking where teams have already looked. Red for completed, yellow for in progress, green for scheduled. The whole damn mountain is turning red and there's still no sign of his son. Ethan Michael Reeves, 10 years old, 4'7", 73 pounds, brown hair that sticks up in the back no matter how much you brush. Gap between his front teeth. Obsessed with dinosaurs and basketball and those stupid YouTube videos where people open surprise toys. He laughs at his own jokes before he gets to the punchline. He ties his shoes wrong, loops over loops, and Jack keeps meaning to show him the right way. But there's always another deployment, another mission, another reason to say I'll teach him next time. Except now there might not be a next time. Jack closes his eyes and he's back at the campsite. Eagles Peak Recreation Area. Father-son weekend. Just the two of them. Ethan had been so excited, packed his backpack 3 days early, kept asking if they could leave Friday night instead of Saturday morning. Jack can still see him running ahead on the trail, that bright red jacket making him look like a cardinal darting between the pine trees. They'd set up camp in a clearing. Ethan wanted to pitch the tent himself, insisted he could do it. Jack had stood back and watched his kid wrestle with poles and stakes, offering advice only when asked, proud of that stubborn independence. That night they'd roasted hot dogs that burned on the outside and stayed cold in the middle. Perfect. They'd told stories, made up constellations. Ethan had fallen asleep in his sleeping bag, still wearing his sneakers. Jack had woken at 0600, habit, body clock permanently set to military time. Ethan's sleeping bag was empty. No big deal. Kid probably went to pee. But then 5 minutes passed. 10. Jack had called his name. Started searching the immediate area. The campfire was cold. Ethan's backpack was still there. His jacket was still there. That's when the cold had started in Jack's gut. That professional combat sense that says something's very wrong here. He'd immediately called park rangers, local sheriff. Within 2 hours, they had search teams deployed. Within 4 hours, the FBI was involved because Jack Reeves isn't just any worried father. He's a Delta Force operator with security clearances that make federal agents nervous, and the possibility of kidnapping or enemy action had to be considered. Now it's been 72 hours. The magic number, the deadline. Everyone knows what it means when a missing child crosses that line. Nobody says it out loud, but it hangs in the air like smoke. The odds shift. The search starts looking for different things. The dogs start getting trained to find different scents. Jack's team, his actual Delta team, has quietly deployed assets that officially aren't here. Thermal drones, satellite imagery, ground-penetrating radar, communications intercepts. They've done everything short of calling in an airstrike, and they've found nothing. It's like Ethan just evaporated. The FBI profiler, a woman named Chen with kind eyes and a ruthless mind, had sat Jack down yesterday and walked him through possibilities. Lost and disoriented, most likely. Animal attack, possible but unlikely given the lack of evidence. Abduction by a stranger, low probability this remote. Abduction by someone known to the family. She'd paused there, looked at him carefully. Jack had understood what she wasn't saying. They were looking at him. Standard procedure. The parent is always a suspect. He'd submitted to questioning. Polygraph. Timeline verification. He'd passed everything because he had nothing to hide except his own crushing guilt. I took my eyes off him. Just for a minute. 1 minute. That's the thought that's eating him alive. He's been in hostage rescue situations where every second counted, where he'd maintained perfect awareness of 12 different variables simultaneously, where his focus had saved lives, but he'd lost track of his own son in the woods because he'd been sleeping, doing something as stupid and human as sleeping. The diner door opens. Cold October air rushes in, carrying the smell of pine needles and coming snow. Jack doesn't look up. He's heard that door open and close 40 times this afternoon. Each time his heart had jumped, hoping for news. Now he doesn't bother. But then he hears it. A sound that doesn't belong. The clicking of claws on linoleum, the soft panting of a large dog. The diner goes quiet. Conversations stop mid-sentence. Forks pause over plates. Because walking through that door is a little girl, maybe 9 years old, with a German shepherd that's nearly as tall as she is. The girl's wearing jeans with holes in the knees that look earned, not fashionable. Purple sneakers with mismatched laces. A hoodie 2 sizes too big with a faded school logo. Her hair's pulled back in a ponytail that's fighting a losing battle against the wind. Her face is serious, focused like she's on a mission. The backpack on her shoulders has cartoon puppies all over it, the kind of cheerful kid stuff that clashes with the intensity in her eyes. But it's the dog that makes Jack finally look up. Really look. The German shepherd is magnificent. Young, maybe 2 years old, but carrying himself with the controlled power of a trained working animal. His coat is that deep sable color, black and tan, perfectly groomed. His ears are up, alert. His eyes are intelligent and searching. He's wearing a vest, not a service dog vest, but something else. Something Jack recognizes from his years working with military canine units. A training vest. The real kind, not the costume stuff people buy online. The girl walks straight through the diner like she owns it. Doesn't ask permission, doesn't hesitate. The dog moves beside her, not pulling, not lagging, perfectly heeled without a command. They pass the counter. past 3 other booths. Other customers are staring. The waitress starts to say something about health codes and animals, but the words die in her throat. Because the girl is looking directly at Jack Reeves. And somehow, impossibly, she knows exactly who he is. She stops at his booth. The dog sits immediately, without being told, his shoulder pressed against her leg. She looks at Jack with brown eyes that seem too old for her face. Eyes that have seen something. Know something. Jack stares back. His operator brain is cataloguing details. The dirt under her fingernails. The scratch on her left cheek. The way she's breathing a little hard, like she's been running. The dog's focus, locked onto Jack with an intensity that's almost unsettling. "Are you Ethan's dad?" she asks. Her voice is clear, direct, no hesitation. Jack's entire body goes rigid. The air in the diner seems to freeze. He hasn't told anyone in this restaurant who he is or why he's here. He's been a ghost, just another customer nursing coffee and staring at his phone. His truck in the parking lot has civilian plates. He's wearing nothing that identifies him. "Who are you?" His voice comes out harder than he intends. Command voice. The voice that makes enemy combatants surrender. The little girl doesn't flinch. "My name is Maya. This is Scout." She puts her hand on the dog's head. Scout's tail does a single thump against the floor. "We can find your son." The words hit Jack like a physical blow. For a second he can't breathe. Can't think. Every parent's desperate hope and worst nightmare wrapped up in one impossible statement from a child who shouldn't even know he has a son, let alone that his son is missing. "How do you know about my son?" It's not a question. It's a demand. Maya shifts her backpack. "Everyone knows. The whole town knows. There's helicopters and search teams and police everywhere. I heard the sheriff talking to my mom at the grocery store this morning. He said they're running out of places to look. He said—" She stops, glances around at the other customers who are definitely listening now. "He said it's been 3 days. Jack's jaw tightens. Of course, small town. Everyone knows everyone's business. The massive search operation would be impossible to hide. He should have realized. "I'm sorry about your situation, kid, but you need to—" "Scout can find him." Maya's voice is firm. Absolute. "Scout can find people that other dogs can't. I know you probably don't believe me. Nobody ever does. But he's special. And we're running out of time." There's something in the way she says it. Not childish fantasy. Not naive hope. Something else. Certainty. The kind of bone-deep conviction that Jack has only heard in the voices of people who've seen impossible things and know they're telling the truth. He looks at the dog again. Scout is staring at him, and there's an intelligence in those dark eyes that makes Jack's operator instincts fire. He's worked with military working dogs, Belgian Malinois trained to sniff out explosives, German shepherds trained to track enemy combatants through urban warfare zones. Those were professional animals, worth more than the trucks they rode in, trained for years at incredible expense. This dog has that same look, that same controlled intensity, but he's wearing a homemade vest and he belongs to a 9-year-old girl. "Maya." Jack forces his voice softer. "I appreciate what you're trying to do, but there are professional search and rescue teams out there right now, dogs trained for exactly this kind of work, the best in the state. If they haven't found anything, they're looking in the wrong places." Maya unzips her backpack, pulls out a folded piece of paper. She spreads it on the table. It's a printed map of the Eagle's Peak area, the kind you can grab from the ranger station. But this one is covered in marks. Pencil lines. Highlighted areas. Notes in a child's careful handwriting. They're searching in grids. That makes sense if someone is lost and wandering. But what if Ethan didn't wander? What if he was following something? Jack's eyes narrow. He looks at her map. At the patterns she's marked. Following what? Scout found a trail 2 days ago, up near Copper Ridge. It's not on any of the search grids because it's outside the normal range for a lost kid. But Scout insisted. He kept pulling toward it. I didn't understand then. She points to a spot on her map. But this morning I heard the weather report. There's a storm coming, big one. And I realized if someone was out there, past Copper Ridge, they'd be trying to get to shelter before it hit. There's only one place that makes sense. She traces a line with her finger. It goes way off the main search area, into terrain that Jack knows is rough, rocky, dangerous. Not somewhere a 10-year-old would accidentally end up, but somewhere a scared, disoriented kid might go if he was trying to find a specific landmark, if he thought he knew where he was going. There's an old fire lookout tower, right here. Maya taps the map. It's been abandoned for like 20 years, but you can see it from certain spots on the main trail. It's this tall tower with a little house on top. If Ethan saw it, if he thought that was the way back to civilization, he might have headed toward it. And once you're off the main trails in that area, the terrain funnels you into this valley. There's no cell service, no clear sight lines. It's like a dead zone. That's why the search teams haven't found anything. Jack stares at this map, drawn by a 9-year-old girl, and his skin is crawling because what she's saying makes a terrible kind of sense. The fire lookout. He'd seen it marked on his own maps, but dismissed it. Too far. Too remote. The search teams had focused on the logical grids, the mathematical probabilities, the statistics of how far a child could travel in various scenarios. But those statistics assume rational behavior. They assume a scared kid would stay put or follow water or make noise. They don't account for a boy who thinks he knows where he's going, who saw a man-made structure and thought civilization, who kept walking in the wrong direction because he believed it was right. Why would your dog find a trail the search dogs missed? Jack's voice is careful. Testing. Those are trained animals, certified. They've found missing people before? Maya looks at him, and for the first time, she smiles. It's a small smile, sad almost. Because Scout doesn't just track scent, he tracks what people call intent. My dad used to say Scout could read a story in the air that other dogs couldn't even smell. He could tell the difference between someone who walked somewhere on purpose versus someone who was lost. Someone who was scared versus someone who was hunting. It sounds crazy, but it's true. Your dad. Jack catches the past tense. He trained dogs. He was K-9 unit, sheriff's department over in Brennan County. He trained Scout from a puppy. Said he was the best dog he'd ever worked with. Said Scout had something special. He was going to make him official, get him certified and everything. Her voice drops. But then Dad died. Heart attack. Last February. Scout was only a year old. Nobody wanted him. The department said he was too young, not finished training. Too much of a risk. My mum couldn't afford to keep a dog that size. We were going to have to give him up. She looks down at Scout, puts both hands on his head. The dog leans into her touch. But I couldn't let that happen. Dad loved this dog, believed in him. So I told Mom I'd train him myself. I read all of Dad's books, watched all his training videos, spent every day after school working with Scout. We practiced tracking, search patterns, scent discrimination. All of it? People think I'm just playing. They see a kid with a dog, but Scout and me, we're a real team. Just like Dad wanted. Jack is very still. He's listening not just to her words, but to everything underneath them. The grief, the determination, the absolute conviction. This isn't a fantasy. This is a daughter trying to honor her father. A child who's taken on an adult responsibility because no one else would. And the dog. Scout sits there, calm and focused, his eyes moving between Maya and Jack like he understands every word. There's something about him that Jack can't quite name. An awareness. A presence. Maya. Jack leans forward. His operator voice is gone. Now he's just a father. A desperate, drowning father. There are 50 people searching for my son. Police, rangers, FBI, my own people. If I walk out of here with you and your dog, and we find nothing, I've wasted hours we don't have. Hours that could make the difference. Do you understand what I'm saying? I need you to be absolutely sure. Maya doesn't blink. Scout found Ethan's scent near the campsite, day before yesterday. I was there with my mom. She volunteers with the search coordination. She didn't want to bring me, but I begged. Said I wanted to help hand out water or something. But really, I wanted to let Scout try. Jack's heart is pounding now. You found his scent? Scout found where Ethan went into the woods, not the direction the search teams were looking. A different way. There's a deer trail, really faint, that cuts behind the camp area. Scout locked onto it immediately. I followed it about half a mile before Mom called me back, but I saw where it was heading, toward Copper Ridge, toward that dead zone. She pauses. I tried to tell one of the searchers. He patted my head and said, "Thanks, honey." Didn't even look at my map. Jack feels something crack in his chest. This little girl had found something, a lead, a possibility. And she'd been dismissed because she was a child, because her dog wasn't certified, because in a world of professional search teams and federal resources, what could a 9-year-old possibly know? Why come to me? He asks. Why not go to the sheriff, the search coordinator? Maya's eyes are steady. Because you're his dad. And because I heard them talking. The adults. They said you were Delta Force. That means you're one of those super soldiers, right? The ones who do impossible things. If anyone would listen to a kid with a crazy idea, if anyone would be willing to try something that sounds impossible because they're desperate enough, it would be you. She takes a breath. Plus, Scout wanted to meet you. He's been pulling toward this diner for 20 minutes. Dogs know things. He knows you're important. He knows we need you. Jack Reeves has made hundreds of tactical decisions under pressure. He's had to choose in split seconds whether to breach left or right, whether to engage or hold fire, whether to trust his gut or follow the plan. Lives have hung on those choices. Missions have succeeded or failed based on his judgment. This is the hardest decision he's ever made. On one side is everything logical, everything professional. The search teams know what they're doing. The statistics, the training, the resources. Following them makes sense. Staying coordinated makes sense. Trusting the system makes sense. On the other side is a 9-year-old girl with a map and a dog, and a story about her dead father, and a trail nobody else believed in. He looks at Scout. The dog tilts his head. One ear up, one ear slightly back. And Jack sees it. That quality he couldn't name before. This isn't a pet. This isn't even a police dog going through motions. This is something else, something that understands the stakes. Jack stands up. Every customer in the diner is watching now. He pulls out his wallet, drops 2 20s on the table for coffee he barely touched. He looks down at Maya. If we do this, you do exactly what I say. Exactly. No arguments. This terrain is dangerous, and if the weather turns bad, it gets deadly. You understand? Maya nods. Her face is serious. I understand. And if Scout loses the trail, if we hit a dead end, we turn around immediately. I'm not risking your life on a maybe. Are we clear? Yes, sir. Jack grabs his jacket, his phone, his truck keys. He's about to walk out of this diner with a child and her dog, abandoning the coordinated search effort, following a lead that everyone else dismissed. If he's wrong, if this is wasted time, he'll never forgive himself. But if he's right, if this impossible little girl and her father's dog can do what 50 trained professionals couldn't. Let's go find my son, Jack says. Maya's face breaks into the first real smile he's seen. She adjusts her backpack. Scout, track. The German shepherd stands. His entire body shifts. He's no longer a pet in a diner. He's a working animal with a mission. He moves to the door, nose already lifting to test the air, and Jack Reeves follows a 9-year-old girl out into the cold October afternoon, chasing the most desperate hope he's ever known. The waitress watches them go. She picks up Jack's empty coffee cup and the $40 he left for an $8 check. She doesn't know what she just witnessed, but she picks up the phone behind the counter anyway, dials the number for search coordination, because something in her gut says this matters, says that whatever's about to happen on that mountain, someone official should probably know. Outside, the first snowflakes are beginning to fall. Jack's truck is a civilian model Ford F-150, but Maya notices things. The way it sits lower in the back, reinforced suspension. The barely visible antenna array on the roof. The tinted windows that are darker than legal. This isn't just a truck, it's a vehicle that's been modified by people who know what they're doing. Scout jumps into the back seat without hesitation. Maya climbs in after him. She's buckling her seatbelt when Jack slides into the driver's seat and the engine roars to life. He doesn't ask for directions. He's already studied every map of this area 100 times. He knows where Copper Ridge is. He just doesn't know if they're chasing a miracle or wasting the last precious hours of his son's life. They pull out of the diner parking lot and Jack can see people watching from the windows. He knows what this looks like. A desperate father. A little girl. A dog. It looks like a man who's lost his mind. Maybe he has. But here's the thing about Delta Force operators. They're trained to make decisions in chaos, to act when everyone else is paralyzed, to trust their gut even when their gut is screaming something that makes no logical sense. How long to the trailhead? Maya asks. She's pulled out her map again, studying it with fierce concentration. 20 minutes, maybe less. Jack's eyes flick to the rearview mirror. Scout is sitting perfectly still in the back seat, staring forward like he's tracking something invisible. Tell me about this trail he found. The deer path. Details. Maya doesn't need to consult notes. It starts about 30 yards behind your campsite. There's a fallen pine tree, really old, covered in moss. The trail goes under it. That's probably why the search teams missed it. You have to literally crawl under the tree to access the path. After that, it follows the ridgeline for maybe a quarter mile, then drops down into a ravine. That's where I lost it because Mom called me back, but Scout wanted to keep going. He was pulling hard. Jack's mind is working. A deer trail. Low to the ground. Hidden by fallen timber. The search dogs would have been working in standard patterns, noses up, checking the obvious routes. They wouldn't have been looking for something a kid would crawl under. Wouldn't have considered that a frightened 10-year-old might take the path of least resistance, following what looked like a trail even if it went in the wrong direction. His phone rings. FBI agent Chen. He lets it go to voicemail. It rings again immediately. This time it's his team leader, callsign Havoc. Jack declines the call. His phone starts buzzing with texts. Everyone wants to know where he is. The search coordinator noticed his truck leaving. People are asking questions. He silences the phone completely, drops it in the cup holder. Maya watches him do it. They're going to be mad at you, she says quietly. For leaving. They'll get over it. Jack's voice is hard. Or they won't. Doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is finding Ethan. The road narrows as they climb. Pavement gives way to gravel. The trees press in close on both sides, pine and aspen mixing together in that particular way they do at altitude. The aspens are past their peak, leaves falling like golden rain. It would be beautiful if Jack could let himself see beauty right now, but all he sees is terrain, cover, obstacles. The snow is falling harder now, fat, wet flakes that stick to the windshield. They reach the trailhead parking area. There are other vehicles here. Search and rescue trucks. A ranger station vehicle. 2 sheriff's department SUVs. But the actual searchers are out in the woods, spread across their grids, following their patterns. No one sees Jack's truck pull in. No one sees them get out. Scout knows something's happening. The second Maya opens the door, he's out, nose to the ground, body coiled with purpose. Maya pulls a small orange vest from her backpack and fastens it around his chest. It's homemade, stitched by hand, but it's got reflective strips and a patch that says "Search Dog" in black letters. Her father's work, probably. Made for a dog he'd never get to see finish training. "You're going to need to lead," Jack says to Maya. "I don't know the exact spot where Scout picked up the trail, but once we're there, I'm taking point. That terrain past Copper Ridge is dangerous, and it's about to get dark. You stay behind me. Scout can work ahead, but if I say stop, everyone stops. Clear?" "Clear," Maya says. She's all business now. No more little girl. She's a handler with a job to do. "Scout, search mode." The dog's entire demeanor shifts. His head comes up, his ears are radar dishes, and he starts moving. They head into the woods, and Jack is immediately assessing. Temperature dropping. Wind picking up. Visibility decreasing. The snow is going to complicate everything. It'll cover tracks, mask scents, make the terrain treacherous. They have maybe 3 hours of usable daylight left. After that, they're working in the dark, and the storm is going to get serious. Maya leads them toward the campsite. It's marked off with search tape now, an official crime scene, though everyone hopes it won't become that kind of crime scene. Jack sees his tent, still standing. Ethan's sleeping bag visible through the open flap. That stupid red jacket hanging from a tree branch where Jack had put it to dry. He forces himself to look away. Can't think about that now. Has to stay operational. Maya is moving along the perimeter. Scout is ranging back and forth, nose working. Then suddenly he stops. Freezes. His body goes rigid and his head swivels toward a section of woods that looks like every other section. Dense underbrush. No obvious trail. And that fallen pine tree Maya mentioned, massive and ancient, lying like a barricade. "There," Maya whispers. "That's where we found it before." Scout doesn't wait for permission. He drops low and crawls under the tree trunk, his body barely fitting through the gap. Maya follows, her small size making it easy. Jack has to take off his pack, push it through first, then shimmy under on his belly. For a man his size, it's not simple. But he makes it through, and when he stands up on the other side, he sees it. The deer trail. It's faint, barely more than a suggestion, but it's there. A narrow path winding through the undergrowth, the kind of thing animals use for generations, worn just enough to be navigable if you're low to the ground. If you're a kid who doesn't know better. If you're following what looks like a path because paths mean people and people mean safety. Scout is already moving down it. Nose down, tail up, every line of his body saying, "I've got something." Maya follows and Jack brings up the rear, his eyes constantly scanning. He's pulled a handheld GPS from his pack, marking waypoints, creating a trail they can follow back if needed. The professional part of his brain is noting landmarks, a distinctive rock formation, a lightning-struck tree, a dried creek bed. They move for 20 minutes. The trail is leading them away from all the search grids, away from where everyone else is looking. Jack checks his GPS. They're a quarter-mile from the campsite, but they've traveled in a direction no one predicted. Too far north, too steep, not where a rational person would go. But Ethan isn't being rational. He's being a scared 10-year-old who thinks he sees something familiar, who's following a path because paths lead somewhere, and somewhere is better than nowhere. The trail drops into the ravine Maya mentioned. It's steep, treacherous with loose rock, and now wet with snow. Jack can see how a kid could slide down here, lose their footing, end up at the bottom with no easy way back up. Scout navigates it easily, his 4 legs and low center of gravity perfect for this terrain. Maya is careful but confident. Jack comes down last, using trees to control his descent. At the bottom they hit a creek. It's running cold and clear over smooth stones. Scout doesn't hesitate. He splashes across, water up to his chest, and picks up the trail on the other side. And that's when Jack sees it. On a rock at the creek's edge, a small piece of red fabric, snagged on a sharp edge, torn. He moves to it, pulls it free. His hands are shaking. It's from a jacket, a bright red jacket, the same color as the one hanging back at the campsite. Except Ethan wasn't wearing that jacket. He'd taken it off before bed, which means he'd put it back on before he left. In the dark, in a hurry, following something. He came through here. Jack's voice is raw. Scout's right. He came this way. Maya nods. She's seen the fabric too. Scout's pulling harder now. The scent is getting stronger. He's gaining on it. They push forward. The terrain is brutal. They're climbing now, following the ravine up toward higher ground. The trees are thicker here. Old growth that blocks most of the light. The snow is accumulating on branches, making everything look distorted. Unfamiliar. Jack can see how a kid would get completely turned around in this. How every direction would start to look the same. Scout suddenly barks, sharp and urgent. He's found something. They hurry forward, and there, pressed into soft earth that's now frozen, is a footprint. Small, child-sized, a sneaker tread. It's been there for at least a day, maybe more, but it's unmistakable. Jack drops to one knee beside it. His hand hovers over the print but doesn't touch it. Evidence. Proof. His son was here. Is maybe still here. Somewhere ahead in this wilderness. How much farther to the fire, Lookout? Jack's voice is steady, but Maya can hear the emotion underneath. The desperate hope. Maybe 2 miles, but it's rough terrain. It's going to take time. Maya looks at the sky. The snow is heavier now. The wind is picking up. The storm is moving in faster than the forecast said. Jack knows. He can feel it. The temperature has dropped 10 degrees in the last hour. The wind is shifting. This is going to get bad. Really bad. And they're heading deeper into it instead of seeking shelter. Every operator instinct he has is screaming that this is dangerous, that he should turn back, call for backup, wait for better conditions. But every father instinct is screaming louder. That footprint is fresh enough to see, which means Ethan came through here recently, within the last day or two, which means he could still be alive, could still be close. And if he's taken shelter at that fire lookout, if he's holed up in that old tower waiting for rescue, then every minute counts because that structure wasn't built to withstand this kind of storm. Jack makes his decision. We keep going, but we move fast. Scout, can he maintain this pace? Maya looks at her dog. Scout is panting, but his eyes are bright, alert. He's not tired. He's locked in. He can do it. He's trained for endurance. We've done 6-hour tracking sessions. They push on. The trail climbs steadily. Jack's legs are burning. Maya is breathing, hard but keeping up. Scout is tireless, pulling them forward with absolute conviction. The wind is howling now. The snow is no longer falling gently. It's driving sideways, stinging exposed skin, making it hard to see more than 20 feet ahead. Jack's phone, deep in his pack, is vibrating constantly. People are looking for him. The search coordinator has probably figured out he went rogue. FBI agent Chen is probably furious. His team is probably mobilizing. But he's too far out now, too committed. And cell service this deep in the terrain is non-existent anyway. He's off the grid, gone dark, operating on pure faith in a 9-year-old girl and her father's dog. They round a bend and the ground opens up into a small clearing. And there, on the far side, is something that makes Jack's heart stop. A granola bar wrapper, bright blue. The expensive organic kind Jack always packs for camping because Ethan likes them. It's caught in a bush, flapping in the wind. Fresh, recent. Scout is going crazy now, barking, pulling, his entire body vibrating with urgency. He's got a strong scent, really strong. They're close, They have to be close. The terrain starts to level out. They're on a ridge now. Through the trees, Jack can see something in the distance. A structure, tall and skeletal. The fire lookout tower. It rises maybe 60 feet, a metal framework with a small enclosed cabin at the top. It's old, rusted, probably hasn't been maintained in decades, but it's still standing. And if Ethan saw that tower, if he thought it meant civilization, he would have headed straight for it. They break into the clearing around the tower's base. Scout is barking continuously now. Maya can barely hold him back. The dog is trying to pull free, trying to run to the tower, because he's found what he was looking for. The trail ends here. Jack looks up at the tower. The stairs are switchback metal grating, zig-zagging up the framework. At the top, maybe 60 feet up, is the cabin. It's got windows all around for spotting fires. The windows are dark, no movement visible. But there's a door, and the door is closed, and a closed door means someone closed it. "Ethan!" Jack's voice tears out of his throat. Raw, desperate. "Ethan, can you hear me?" The wind rips his words away. Nothing. No response, just the howl of the storm and the creak of old metal. Jack starts for the stairs. Maya grabs his arm. "Wait, let Scout check it first. If Ethan's hurt or unconscious, Scout can confirm he's there. If he's not, we don't waste time climbing." Jack wants to argue. Every fiber of his being wants to charge up those stairs. But she's right. It's tactical, smart. He nods. Maya releases Scout's lead. "Scout, find! Find Ethan!" The dog explodes forward. He hits the stairs at a dead run. His claws ring against the metal grating as he climbs. Up and up, the stairs sway under his weight. The whole structure is groaning. Scout doesn't care. He's a dog with a mission. He reaches the top platform, stops at the door, and starts barking. Not urgent barking. Different. It's the alert, the found bark, the I've got him bark. Jack doesn't remember climbing. 1 second he's on the ground, and the next he's taking the stairs 3 at a time. Maya is shouting something behind him, but he can't hear over the blood pounding in his ears. His boots hammer metal. The tower is swaying. The wind is brutal up here, exposed, dangerous. He doesn't care. He reaches the top platform. Scout is pawing at the door. Jack grabs the handle. It's locked from the inside. Of course it is. Ethan would have locked it for safety. Smart kid. Jack's kid. "Ethan! Ethan! It's Dad! Open the door!" For 3 seconds, there's nothing. 3 seconds that last a lifetime. Then Jack hears it. The smallest sound. A shuffling. Movement. The scrape of something being dragged. The click of a lock turning. The door opens. And there, standing in the doorway, wrapped in a dirt-stained emergency blanket, his face pale and streaked with tears, his lips cracked and bleeding, is Ethan Michael Reeves. Dad. The word is barely a whisper, like he can't believe what he's seeing, like he thinks he might be hallucinating. Jack can't speak, can't move, can only stare at his son. Alive, standing, looking at him with those brown eyes that are so much like his mother's. Then Ethan's face crumbles. "Dad!" He stumbles forward and Jack catches him, drops to his knees and pulls his son against his chest and holds him like he's never letting go. Ethan is sobbing into his shoulder. Jack is saying his name over and over. "Ethan, Ethan, Ethan." Like a prayer, like the only word that matters. Scout is there, too, pushing his nose against Ethan's leg, tail wagging. Maya reaches the top platform, breathing hard, and she sees them. The reunion. The impossible thing her father's dog just made happen. And she starts crying, too. Can't help it. Because this is why her dad trained dogs. This moment right here, this exact thing. Jack pulls back enough to look at his son, to run his hands over Ethan's face, his arms, checking for injuries. "Are you hurt? Are you injured? Talk to me, buddy." Ethan is shaking. "I'm okay. I think I'm okay. My ankle hurts, and I'm really cold, and I'm so hungry, but I'm okay. Dad, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I heard something outside the tent. I thought it was a bear. I was going to scare it away. I grabbed my jacket and I went out and I saw something moving and I followed it, and then I couldn't find the tent anymore. I tried to follow the trail back, but I got lost. I kept walking because I thought I'd find a road, but I just got more lost. And then I saw this tower and I thought maybe there'd be a phone or people, but there was nothing, just this empty room. But at least it was shelter, and I've been here, and I was so scared. Dad, I was so scared. I know, buddy. But you did everything right. You found shelter. You stayed put. You survived. You're so brave. You're so smart. I'm so proud of you. Ethan looks past his father, sees Maya standing there, sees Scout. Who's that? That, Jack says, his voice breaking, is Maya, and that's Scout. They're the reason I found you. They tracked you when nobody else could. They believed in a trail everyone else missed. They saved your life. Ethan looks at the girl and the dog. Thank you, he whispers. Maya smiles. It's the smile of someone who just watched their father's legacy come full circle. Scout did the hard part. I just followed him. But that's not true, and everyone there knows it. Because without Maya's courage to speak up, without her refusal to be dismissed, without her absolute faith in a dog her father believed in, none of this happens. Jack Reeves never walks into those woods. The trail never gets followed. And Ethan stays lost in that tower as the storm closes in. Jack stands, lifting Ethan with him. His son weighs nothing. We need to get off this tower. Storm's getting worse and this structure isn't safe. Can you walk? Ethan nods. I think so. They make it down the stairs. Slow, careful. Jack goes first, Ethan clinging to him. Maya and Scout follow. By the time they reach the ground, the snow is a whiteout. Visibility is maybe 10 feet. The wind is screaming. Jack pulls out his GPS. Thank God he marked waypoints. They have a path back. But it's going to be brutal. 2 miles through a blizzard with an injured kid and a 9-year-old girl. This is the kind of situation that kills people. The kind of mistake that ends with multiple body bags. But they're not going to die today. Jack Reeves has navigated worse, and now he's got something he didn't have before. He's got his son back, and that means failure isn't an option. He pulls emergency gear from his pack. A spare jacket for Ethan, heat packs, his own outer shell for Maya. He activates an emergency beacon. EPIRB, emergency position indicating radio beacon. It'll bring every rescue helicopter in range, but in this weather they can't fly. Still, they'll know where to find them. Eventually. Maya. Jack looks at her. This little girl who walked into a diner with impossible confidence. We're going to move fast. Your dog got us here. Now I'm getting us home. You stay between me and Ethan. Scout can range, but keep him close. We move as a unit. If anyone falls, we all stop. Understood? Understood, Maya says. Her voice is steady. She's not scared. She's got faith. In Scout. In this soldier. In herself. They start back. Into the storm. Following the GPS waypoints. Following Jack's marked trail. Scout leads. Maya follows. Ethan is next, leaning on his father. Jack brings up the rear, his body a shield against the wind. They move through the whiteout like ghosts. 1 step at a time. 1 waypoint at a time. The distance that took an hour to climb takes 2 hours to descend. The wind tries to throw them down. The snow tries to blind them. The cold tries to stop them. But they don't stop. They keep moving. And somewhere behind them, miles away, a massive search and rescue operation is mobilizing toward Jack's beacon signal. Helicopters are standing by. Ground teams are preparing. But they're too far out. The storm is too bad. Jack Reeves and his impossible team are on their own. And that's exactly where Jack Reeves operates best.